You didn't think you'd get rid of me that easily, did ya? I am inevitable. With Mega Evolution base set out later this month on September 25th in Pokemon TCG Live, somehow Trust Your Pilot has returned with a look at the full set list plus the top 10 best cards. While Mega Evolution is a main set, it's actually smaller than Black Bolt and White Flare combined, coming in at just 132 cards before secret rares. But like I told my ex-wife numerous times, I'm only paying alimony for the kids I like. So where Black Bolt and White Flare were a black hole for competitive cards, Mega Evolution brings along several great new additions to the TCG. Before we get to all that though, what you're seeing on screen right now is a look at all the cards included in the set in order from 1 to 132. The fine folk over at Pokemon Proxies made the proxies, and I pieced together the set list from watching YouTube videos of people I subscribe to, because you should always subscribe to people whose videos you watch. And comment which Pokemon you think has the nicest feet. In terms of the full set list, there aren't any surprises. I got an idea of most of the cards from those videos, but I did have to fill a few holes, which is something I'm great at. From what I could gather, everything expected is in Mega Evolution base set. In fact, the only surprising part is how many rares there are. Considering we only have 10 EXs, all of them Megas, they overcompensated by giving us 10 rares. Of course, this is probably a typical number of rares and someone in the comments will actually me. But for a set with 132 cards, 10 rares seems high. For those wondering, the rares I could find were Meganium, Cinderace, Raikou, Alakazam, Xerneas, Harrymama, Lunatone, Yveltal, Steelix, and Dialga. Otherwise, none of the gym promos lingering in Japan are present here, aside from Pokemon Center Lady. Team Rocket's Kangaskhan EX is omitted, same with Lapras EX and Hop's Pinsirchin EX. We are getting Psyduck and Golduck this month, but those are promos inside Mega Evolution blister packs, not cards in the actual set. The only other noteworthy thing to point out is that we're getting full eye block reprints of Boss's Orders, Energy Switch, Rare Candy Switch, and Ultra Ball, meaning they won't rotate in March 2026 as previously expected. I mostly reused the old arts, but rest assured the new ones will have an eye in the bottom left. And keep in mind that some of the names have been changed from the original Japanese translations. Like Dangerous Ruins is Risky Ruins, and Suspicious Watch is Strange Time Counter or something. It's also worth pointing out that the 4 pre-release promos for Mega Evolution will be Meganium, Inteleon, Alakazam, and Lunatone. Without knowing what's in each of the kits, this seems like one of the most balanced spread of pre-release promos in a long time. Meganium doubles your grass energy, Inteleon can snipe someone on their bench if it has low HP, Alakazam draws you a ton of cards, and Lunatone does the same. Just be aware that decking out in a pre-release is a real concern, considering they only have 40 cards in them. What you need to be aware of is Solrock with Lunatone and Kadabra with Alakazam. I'm assuming the Lunatone kit will have 2 Solrock, which does 70 damage for 1 energy if Lunatone's on the bench, KOing most evolving basics. Kadabra, meanwhile, draws 2 cards upon evolving from hand, giving you a huge boost over the other Stage 2 promos who rely on crappy Stage 1s. With all that bookkeeping out of the way, let's count up the top 10 best cards in Mega Evolution base set. I masterfully debated what should be number 1, but Lillie's Determination is the most far-reaching, improving the majority of decks out there, while also making sure we aren't screwed over by rotation in March, which likely takes Professor's Research and INO, our current best draw supporters. This card is truly insane. At worst, it's a Shuffle Draw 6. Not too long ago, Cynthia was a 4 of in most decks with that same effect, but Lillie's takes it one step further. If you have exactly 6 prize cards remaining, you Shuffle Draw 8 instead, making it the best draw supporter in the entire game. Obviously, something like Raging Bolt won't care about Lillie since it wants Professor Sada and takes prizes quickly. But any deck that doesn't plan on getting a knockout turn 1 will use Lillie. And something like Gardevoir, which can spend 2 or 3 turns setting up KOs, Lillie can be a Shuffle Draw 8 multiple times. Lillie also makes stall or mill decks better, as it's always going to be a Shuffle Draw 8 since they never take any prizes. Even though we don't 100% know if INO or Research will get a reprint before rotation in 7 months, Lillie's Determination still deserves a top spot because it's just that freaking good. Okay, technically Psyduck isn't in Mega Evolution as it's a promo card, but the only way to get Psyduck IRL is by buying a Mega Evolution blister pack. Or I guess getting it as a single from scalpers who bought up all the blister packs because they recognize stock would be scarce and it's one of the greatest competitive cards ever printed. Regardless, Psyduck and to a lesser extent Golduck completely changed the Pokemon trading card game. By simply having Psyduck in play, now Dusclops and Dusknoir can no longer blow themselves up. This means decks with weaker Pokemon don't have to worry about getting blown by a sweaty-footed Dragapult player. Well, I guess they still have to worry about Phantom Dive, but that's much easier to deal with than multiple Curse Blast. Unfortunately, Magneton and even Fortress EX are caught in the crossfire, meaning Lightning decks might want to focus more on Electric until the meta potentially shifts and people stop running Dusknoir. Which of course will create a pendulum of players cutting Psyduck at tournaments, which in turn brings back Dusknoir until H-Block cards rotate in 2027. Still, because it completely shuts down one of the strongest combos in Standard, Psyduck gets my number 2 slot. Golduck less so, but if they try to get cute and drop a Klefki on you, well, they'll probably concede when they see the duck that should be a Psychic type but isn't. Obviously, Mystery Garden is third. I mean, in most other sets, this would have been number 1. Another buff for Gardevoir, Mystery Garden allows you to discard any energy from hand, then draw until you have the same number of cards in hand as Psychic Pokemon on your side of the field. So for Gardevoir, this is a potential draw of 6. Or at worst, if you already have a big hand, it puts a Psychic energy in the discard pile for Gardevoir's ability. Actually, at worst, it extends Gardy players' turns by about 2 to 3 minutes on PTCGL. Meaning you may as well play TCG Pocket in the background while you wait for them to Lillie for 8, then play a bunch of cards, then Mystery Garden for 6, then play more cards, then Psychic Embrace 5 times, then Monkey Dory 3 times before finally taking their first prize as their timer drops under 5 minutes. I wish I was exaggerating, but we all know how annoying Gardevoir is to play against on live. Mystery Garden is insanely powerful, though it comes at the cost of our sanity, which I started losing around February 22nd, 2022. Arguably, Forest of Vitality is the best card in Mega Evolution. I mean, it's basically a reprint of Forest of Giant Plants, which was banned back in the day for being too strong. The difference today is that compared to 2015 when Fog P came out, no one can afford to live anymore. Also, there were some absolutely filthy busted broken grass types back then like Vileplume, Shiftry, and Dekidui GX, creating unfair situations where people just couldn't play the game. Forest of Vitality is slightly more balanced. For starters, you can't use it on your first turn of the game. Additionally, you can only evolve grass Pokemon into other grass Pokemon now, whereas Forest of Giant Plants allowed you to evolve grass types into anything, including the dark type Shiftry. These nerfs make Forest of Vitality more balanced while not taking away the raw, wriggling power of the card. But it all comes down to the grass types. And right now there aren't many truly goated ones because I don't even think there's a Go-Goat in Standard. Mega Venusaur is the obvious first partner. Use it in tandem with Ogerpon and Bug Catching set, draw a bunch of cards, and have a 380 hit point 3 prizer on turn 2 that can deal 240 damage. Or there's Meganium, who I'll talk about in a bit. While these cards are good, if you look at some of the top decks in Japan towards the end of August, yeah, there isn't a single grass one to be seen. Despite that, Forest of Vitality is nuts and will only get better with each new set. When the Pokemon Company said they'd be giving us type-specific cards in Mega Evolution, they weren't lying. Premium Power Pro instantly makes every fighting deck better, just like how Electro Power made every lightning deck better and Power Tablet made Mew VMAX better. Play with your PPP, the attacks of your fighting type Pokemon increase by 30 and it stacks. So all of a sudden somebody like Conkeldurr can easily clear 300 damage against these new Megas thanks to Poison Damage, Mochi, and the Gatorade. Or Garchomp can take one-hit KOs with its first attack on weaker EXs while saving up for a potential Mega Destroy and Draconic Buster the following turn. And for new cards, Mega Lucario EX becomes a real threat against anything not named Gardevoir because it can deal big damage and accelerate energy. Admittedly, fighting type decks are hanging around the bottom of B tier in Japan, but if it wasn't for Premium Power Pro, they wouldn't even be on the list. Is it dumb that a fairly unimpressive Ralts and Kirlia are this high up on the list? Yes. Is it justified like a Cobalion? Also yes. When we lost Refinement Kirlia to rotation, Gardevoir Stage 1 became an afterthought. Now it's part of the strategy for the potential BDIF, albeit a minor one. Use Kirlia's call sign, go grab any 3 Pokemon from deck. Sure, they can be INO'd away, but you can use it defensively, thinning out useless Pokemon from your deck ahead of an incoming INO. Obviously, the Ralts isn't insane or anything. It just gives Gardevoir a potential draw of 1 if everything's going bad. And like Kirlia, it's an improvement over the existing options. Ultimately, these cards are the opposite of my feet, as in not sexy. But like my feet, they get the job done and make everyone's life better. I'm not stalling before I have to make a decision on which Mega to include on this list, you are. Paired with Forest of Vitality, Meganium is absolutely insane. While Shining Legends Venusaur from 2017 had the same ability but didn't see much play, it couldn't go from a basic to a stage 2 in one turn like Meganium can. If Meganium's in play, each basic grass energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 basic grass energy. Out of all the cards in the top 10, this is one I could see falling the hardest. Like I mentioned with Forest of Vitality, we don't have great grass support. Meganium's usefulness in the future probably hinges on how good Mega Victory Bell EX is whenever it comes out. For now, pair it with Ogerpon or Mega Venusaur or both and never worry about energy. Or if you want to get really crazy, go with a Hydrapple EX Meganium deck for massive damage. Just be aware that you'll have to clench your cheeks super tight, hoping the Bug Catching set never fails to get you the Pokemon you need. We finish up the top 10 list with a trio of Mega Evolution Pokemon. Now, just because they're at the bottom doesn't mean they're not great. It merely speaks to how strong the other cards are. While I'm not 100% convinced Mega Gardevoir is the best Mega on paper, the fact that it makes the best deck in format better gives it the Cerule edge over the others. The first attack is kinda meh. It's more or less there if you're off to a bad start, or if you want to be aggressive like a cheerleader. For a single Psychic Energy, Overflowing Wishes accelerates the Psychic Energy from deck to each of your bench Pokemon. Since Gardevoir is going to be playing Mystery Garden and that wants a full bench, Overflowing Wishes is perfect for when you're struggling to find Psychic Energy, which in turn is perfect for Mega Symphonia as it does 50 damage times the number of Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. No matter how strong Mega Gardevoir is though, it's a side character in a Gardevoir EX deck, just like how I was a side character in that movie my ex-wife filmed with her totally platonic coworker. If Mega Gardy didn't evolve from Kirlia, it wouldn't be nearly as playable. In fact, some Japanese Gardy players are omitting it entirely while others are going for a 2-of, probably because Drifloon can one-shot Megas with Monkey Math. But you can't deny that Mega Gardevoir offers up yet another insane attacker for Gardevoir EX, dealing 350 damage with 7 energy in play, or 400 with 8, and you should be afraid. Mega Lucario as the second best Mega Evolution in Mega Evolution is an easy choice. Yes, the Psychic weakness sucks, making the Gardevoir matchup super stressful, but against everybody else they have to worry about a 340 hit point stage 1 who can accelerate 3 energy into play for 1 energy while also dealing a good chunk of damage. And if it survives, Mega Brave's waiting to deal at least 270 damage, which gets boosted even further thanks to Premium Power Pro. Unlike Godsmack though, Mega Lucario can't stand alone. It needs Lunatone, Solrock, and Hariyama. Lunatone and Solrock help with card draw and filling up the discard pile, while Hariyama is a boss's orders. But the combo here works really well. Mega Lucario has enough oomph to KO other Megas with Mega Brave, or if that's not necessary, Aura Jab can accelerate to Hariyama, who's only 1 Premium Power Pro away from one-shotting Raging Bolt. So yes, Mega Lucario's good. But the reason it's 9th is because A, fighting's got it rough thanks to Gardevoir, and B, you have to rely on others to lift you up. And C is a pirate's second favorite letter. I originally had Mega Venusaur in the 10th spot, 380 hit points plus a great ability and the chance to get it into play almost immediately if forced to Vitality, that's crazy. But then I saw that tier list from Japan. Turns out, even in a format where 3 of the top 10 or so decks are weak to grass, a 240 damage dump in the jungle isn't quite enough. Of course, as I was making this, another tier list got an untimely erection, showcasing Mega Venusaur more favorably. But I'd already written most of this, so instead, Mega Magnetric EX rounds out the top 10, which honestly could have also been Fighting Dawn or the combination of Lunatone and Solrock. But damn it, this is Mega Evolution base set. There does need to be a bit of an asterisk here though. That's because in Japan, Psyduck's been out for several months. As a result, Dusknoir isn't seeing much play. And as a result of that, Psyduck's being taken out of decks. So Magnetric might not be as good over here when Mega Evolution comes out. That's because it relies heavily on Magneton, who can't blow itself when Psyduck's watching. I'm getting ahead of myself. For 2 Lightning Energy, Mega Magnetric does 120 damage and makes itself immune to damage from basics. That's really only stopping Raging Bolt right now, as the current future meta is more focused on Megas. What you care about is Riot Blaster. For 3 Lightning, it does 200. That sucks, especially on a 3-prizer. But if you discard all energy, that becomes 330. Now you're KOing every meaningful 2-prizer. And what about Megas? Well, that's where Magneton comes in. By blowing it up, you give them a prize while also accelerating 3 energy into play. Giving them a prize activates Defiance Band, upping Magnetric's damage to 360. Chuck in Gravity Mountain, now no stage 2s are safe. This feels very much like a glass cannon, but having one-shot power against everybody is too good to ignore. As a reminder, Mega Evolution base set is out on September 25th in Pokemon TCG Live, and the cards you're seeing right now won't be included. But we do know regular EXs are returning in Phantasmal Flames this November, so it's possible they get added there. Or maybe they'll be promos, or maybe they'll never come out, who knows? I mean, we're still waiting on Quagsire V.